Hello, everyone, and a very, very good evening to all the lovely people that have joined in. Hello, Hasika, Anushri, Nipun. Very good to see all of you. I'm sure a lot more people are still joining in. Hi, Sreshta. Very, very good evening. Okay. Um, so I assume that all of you are reading the newspapers. Anshika, Tanu, Nimisha, people still joining in. I should probably give it a few seconds. But in the meanwhile, I'm sure a lot of you are reading the newspapers and you're watching the news. And if you have been reading the newspapers and watching the news, then one of the things that you must have come across in the in the past few days is definitely the Places of Worship Act, Special Provisions Act 1991, particularly in the context of the recent judgment in 2019 about the Ram Janmabhoomi dispute, and of course even right now why it is so much in discussion is because of the situation in Varanasi in relation to the Gyanvapi Masjid dispute. So what we will do over the next few minutes is I will of course take you through some of the important aspects of the law itself. एंड क्योंकि आप लोग सब न्यूज़पेपर में भी इधर उधर का कभी कभी कुछ कंफ्यूजन होता रहता है so I'll try to give you a quick background at least of whatever is the current status of the case and what are the various legal disputes that are currently pending. But before we get into the purely legal aspect of things, प्लीज बी श्योर दैट हम लोग अगले फ्यू मिनट्स में जब हमारा ये डिस्कशन चलेगा हम लोग राजनीति की बात नहीं करेंगे, हम लोग पॉलिटिक्स की बातें नहीं करेंगे, राइट? व्हाट वी विल स्टिक टू इज व्हाट इज द लॉ and what are the various complex issues in and around the law, right? For those of you who are meeting me for the first time, hello everyone, my name is Devajyoti Das, and I'm also a graduate of National Law University. I've also secured an All India rank 20 in the NLS Bangalore entrance, and of course, I was also working with one of the top law firms of India, and I also take a lot of lectures here at Clat Possible. Now, as far as the dispute itself is concerned, let's go back to where the Gyanvapi Masjid dispute actually commences. It is originally a petition that was filed in the year 1991. So this is a long time ago, right? It's been more than 30 years since the original dispute at least began. Lot more people have joined in. Ria, Ashmita, Rashi, Shrestha, Abhilash, Rohit, Garima. Hi everyone. How are you guys doing? So originally a petition was filed in the year 1991 in Banaras in the civil court where the petitioners, local priests, etc., sought permission to worship in the Gyanvapi mosque area. Later on, Vijay Shankar Rastogi filed a petition in the lower court, that is in the civil court, claiming illegality in the construction of the Gyanvapi Masjid and sought an archaeological survey of the mosque. Now, this particular aspect, of course, happened in December 2019. This is after the Ram Janmabhoomi order had already come out, right? So now, what is the connection and what is the relationship between the Ram Janmabhoomi dispute and the Kashi Vishwanath dispute is of course something that I'll be addressing with you guys. In the meanwhile, let's just go ahead with hua kya tha, right? The Varanasi court, that is the civil court in Banaras, in April 2021 directed the ASI, that is the Archaeological Survey of India, to carry out the survey and submit its report. Okay. The Uttar Pradesh Sunni Central Waqf Board and the Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid Committee, they filed an appeal in the High Court. अब इन्होंने हाई कोर्ट में क्यों अपील फाइल किया कि ये सर्वे और ये सब बेसिकली नहीं होना चाहिए. That is their contention. The appeal in the High Court, actually they received a stay order, which means जो कैरी आउट द सर्वे, ये जो ऑर्डर था, राइट, इसको हाईकोर्ट ने अल्टीमेटली स्टे ऑर्डर ग्रांट कर दिया कि ठीक है, सर्वे और ये सब कॉम्प्लेक्स इश्यूज अभी नहीं होगा। नाउ सब्सिक्वेंटली उसके बाद में ये हुआ आपका जो रस्तोगी जी वाला केस हुआ था, राइट, जस्ट टू गो बैक, दिस इज विजय शंकर रस्तोगी ने जो केस फाइल किया था, दिस इज दैट केस में यहां ये सब हो गया। Recently, what has also happened is that a plea was filed by 5 Delhi-based women, right? 5 Delhi-based women seeking permission to perform daily worship of Hindu deities whose idols are located on the outer wall of the Gyanvapi masjid. So the wall inside से apparently whatever the claims are, of course survey के report जब आएगा तब तो जो final होगा, but the claim was that on one of the walls there are idols of Hindu gods. So if there are walls में there are Hindu gods का idols etc, then there should be permission granted कि उन idols की कम से कम पूजा वगैरह जो है वो हो सके, right? And that's what these 5 women ultimately were claiming, right? Now the Supreme Court on May 13th, right? क्योंकि मैटर फिर सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी गया कि ये स्टे ऑर्डर आप ग्रांट करिए, ये जो अलग केस है उसमें भी, इस केस में ऑन May 13 सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैड रिफ्यूज्ड टू ग्रांट एन इंटरिम स्टे ऑन द वीडियोग्राफी सर्वे, ओके, रिफ्यूज्ड इट। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा नहीं ठीक है, सर्वे होने में अपने आप में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, okay? सो देयरफॉर जो वीडियोग्राफिक सर्वे वगैरह होना था वो सब अल्टीमेटली आगे बढ़ा, एंड आई थिंक टुडे इज द डे ऑन विच 17th को ही अल्टीमेटली ये सर्वे का रिपोर्ट वगैरह जो है वो सबमिट बेसिकली करना था, ओके। नाउ इट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, यहां से जो है सुप्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट लीगल कॉन्सेप्ट वाइज अगर देखा जाए तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट यहां से शुरू होता है। अर्लियर प्लीज रिमेंबर, दैट इज लास्ट ईयर, the Supreme Court had agreed to take a look at the constitutional validity of the Places of Worship Act 1991 through CJI Sharad Arvind Bobde, जो उस टाइम पे बेसिकली चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया थे। He had agreed कि एक बार इवेल्युएट जरूर किया जाएगा कि ये जो प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट है वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली वैलिड है नहीं है, व्हाटएवर। सो द सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज एनीवे गोइंग टू टेक अ लुक एट दैट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स of the things as well, right? अब therefore क्योंकि इतना सब कुछ सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी हो रहा है, यहां पर भी हो रहा है, तो हमें भी एक बार इस लॉ में क्या कह रहा है वो तो देखना ही पड़ेगा, राइट? सो व्हाट्स द एक्चुअल नेम ऑफ द लॉ? द प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप स्पेशल प्रोविजंस एक्ट 1991। अब इस एक्ट में आई एम श्योर आप लोग सबको कुछ ना कुछ ऑलरेडी जनरल आइडिया तो है ही। जनरल आइडिया क्या है? दैट एट द टाइम ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस, दैट इज 1947, August 15th 1947 में, whatever was the religious character of any particular religious structure, उसका कैरेक्टर चेंज नहीं किया जा सकता, राइट? उसका कैरेक्टर चेंज नहीं किया जा सकता। बट उसमें बिफोर वी कम इनटू दोस डिटेल्स, जस्ट वांटेड टू क्लैरिफाई, राम जन्मभूमि का जो डिस्प्यूट ऑलरेडी, जिसका वी ऑलरेडी हैव द ऑर्डर ऑफ द राम जन्मभूमि डिस्प्यूट, ऑफ कोर्स that particular religious structure is not affected by this law, right? Latif Fatima, sir, आपने ये टी शर्ट कहाँ से ली? This has a, I think there's a picture of Messi, and then, but I honestly don't know. This is something my wife had bought it for me. I honestly don't know, but I will ask Jigyasa, and next time I will definitely let you know. कि बहुत खराब दिख रहा है तो वो भी बता दो, तो भी मैं कम से कम शिकायत कर पाऊंगा, and I can tell my wife, देखो तुम सब कह रहे थे कि खराब है। अगर बहुत अच्छा है तो then also let me know, फिर मैं वो वाइफ को बताऊंगा नहीं शायद। Anyway, section 5 of this particular act, उसमें क्या लिखा है? That the provisions shall not apply to the Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid case. Exact words are, nothing contained in this act nothing contained in this act shall apply to the place or place of worship commonly known as the Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid situated in Ayodhya in the state of Uttar Pradesh and to any suit, appeal or other proceeding related to the said place or the place of worship. तो जो कोई भी character change नहीं हो सकता, ये नहीं हो सकता, वो नहीं सकता, वो that whole aspect, it does not get affected. It does not get affected, at least by this act, as far as the context of the Ram Janmabhoomi itself is concerned, right? In providing a guarantee for the preservation of the religious character of places of public worship as they existed on 15th August 1947 and against the conversion of places of public worship, Parliament has determined that independence from colonial rule furnishes a constitutional basis for healing the injustices of the past by providing the confidence to every religious community that their places of worship will be preserved and their character will not be altered. ये पूरी चीज basically सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा था in the अयोध्या dispute, right? अयोध्या dispute जो हुआ था, अयोध्या judgment basically, dispute तो क्यों लिखे, अब तो judgment है, right? In the Ayodhya judgment, this is something that the Supreme Court has already laid down कि ये पूरा basis यही है कि हमें कभी भी कोई चीज इस तरह से change नहीं करनी चाहिए, ये नहीं होना चाहिए, वो नहीं होना चाहिए. Now, the Places of Worship Act basically seeks पूरा intention ultimately क्या है? What is the whole purpose of this particular law? The purpose of this law is it seeks to prohibit the conversion of a place of worship, right? Change नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वैसा ही continue करेंगे, right? And maintain its religious character as was the situation at the time of India's independence on August 15th, 1947. Okay, Hasika has a question, sir. Can you please give me the gist, like idea behind the survey and all? So, personally, if you look at the Place of Worship Act 1991, मुझे तो लगता ही है कि सर्वे के बाद भी it's a very very complicated legal situation. Either the parliament has to repeal the law itself, तब जाके character change हो सकता है. If the parliament is not repealing the law, then I mean, you know, how do we determine the current religious, character? That might become a legal complication because one side will be saying देखा क्योंकि ये सर्वे से निकला है तो वो ओरिजिनल रिलीजियस कैरेक्टर ही हम मानेंगे कि हिंदू था या somebody is going to say वो मस्जिद था या मंदिर था. Either way, so it becomes even on 15th of August क्या था क्या नहीं था, कैरेक्टर हम किस बेसिस पे डिसाइड करेंगे? Will it be on the basis of religious practice, आस्था का विषय, something that they did use in the Ram Janmabhoomi dispute. Now, is that advisable? Is that not advisable? There's a lot of legal complications. If this law continues to be in place, तब तो मुझे भी सही में नहीं पता कि सर्वे के बाद legal consequence क्या-क्या क्या-क्या हो सकता है और क्या-क्या नहीं होने की संभावना है, and so many aspects ultimately to it, right? So we'll have to see. But Section 4 of the Act specifically says that the religious character of a place of worship existing on the 15th day of August 1947 shall continue to be the same as it existed on that day, right? So again, but on that day क्या character था, वो determination कैसे होगा कैसे नहीं होगा, again becomes an interesting legal question. So I still think कुछ ना कुछ case तो चलता ही रहेगा at the end of the day. Now, popular practice में, of course, that particular area was certainly everybody, it is known as the Gyanvapi Masjid at the end of the day. So I don't know what the court really is going to say. Section 3 of the Act, हमें Act के बारे में तो कम से कम जान ही लेते हैं. Section 3 of the Act prohibits conversion of a religious place in any manner, even to cater to a particular section of the religion. No person, लिखा क्या है? No person shall convert. इस word पे भी काफी complication चल रहा है कि person cannot convert, but does the state have the power to convert? Can the state kind of take these kind of measures? Who will determine कि person तो नहीं कर रहा है, but अगर judicial order से हो रहा है, can that therefore be altered? Of course, if you do a holistic reading, इसीलिए मैं section 4 पहले बताया कि भाई character change ही नहीं हो सकता ये तो specifically mentioned है. Right now, I don't know why section 3 uses the word person, but no person shall convert any any place of worship of any religious denomination or any section thereof into a place of worship of a different section of the same religious denomination or of a different religious denomination. कुछ भी किसी भी तरह का conversion, basically what they're trying to say is किसी भी तरह का conversion, किसी भी तरह की ये सब चीजें essentially हो ही नहीं सकती हैं, right? So if you know, if that's what the language of the law at least is saying, so given that that's the language which is provided, given that section 4 specifically says change hona hi nahi chahiye, but even having said all of those things, क्योंकि आगे पीछे इतने सारे अलग कॉम्प्लिकेशंस भी हमारे सामने आते रहते हैं, we will have to evaluate this further. अभी तो सर्वे का जो भी आना है वो आ जाएगा, and once the kind of the situation at least becomes clearer कि सर्वे में at least क्या आया है, right? उसके बाद maybe we will look at the other complications, about at least the law, right? If this act continues to be in force, then I think there's going to be even more interesting reading for all of you guys, because ये person का क्या role है, how to determine religious character, all of these are important legal questions. Of course, if the parliament decides to repeal the law, then also there is a constitutional issue ki can you change it? Does this order of repeal, जो amendment होगा जिससे repeal होगा ये act, वो amendment को भी challenge किया जा सकता है on the basis that secularism is part of the basic structure of the constitution. तो and अगर आप ऐसे हटाएंगे तो secularism violate हो रहा है. So one way or the other, we still have a lot of, as Mansi is pointing out, as law students, definitely some interesting times ahead of all of us. So let's see. I hope आप लोग सब भी newspaper को ध्यान से पढ़ते रहेंगे. I hope आप सब newspaper को attention जितना deserve करता है उतना देते रहेंगे, right? Sir, has the SC given any recent statements regarding this issue? Not really. SC का वही issue था ना, मैंने specifically बताया है. Yeah, the Supreme Court on May 13th. So this is May 13, 2022. They had refused to grant an interim stay on the videography survey. That means Supreme Court is saying survey होगा, इसीलिए तो survey हो ही पा रहा है, right? So that's the current position of the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court is not saying act valid है या act के बाद भी इसमें कुछ impact हो सकता है, नहीं हो सकता है. Exception तो सिर्फ राम जन्मभूमि का ही दिया हुआ है, जो law में दिया हुआ था. So there is Supreme Court is not really answering on the merits of the prospective dispute जो हो सकता है. They're simply saying ठीक है, videography में हम रोका रोकी नहीं करेंगे. We will not stop the videography survey and so on. So that's the only thing that the Supreme Court has, in recent times, that's the only thing that the Supreme Court has actually kind of gone ahead and said, right? So please do keep a track of the news. I promise you, all of us here at Clat Possible are also reading the news carefully. हम लोग भी पूरी कोशिश करेंगे कि न्यूज आपके सामने जितना भी इम्पोर्टेंट है डेफिनेटली आता रहे. No screaming like some of our TV debates, but at least the law that is relevant for your CLAT exam, that is something that I will definitely ensure that it is brought to you. Right? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening ahead of you. In Lucknow, we also celebrate today as well. It's a very interesting day called Bada Mangal. उसके बारे में भी अगर आपको extra कुछ पढ़ना हो, those of you particularly who are from Lucknow, there is that other interesting aspect of it's a unique festival celebrated only uniquely in Lucknow. So if you want to read up a little bit about it, I don't think CLAT में आ सकता, मैं बस generally बता रहा हूँ, right? Okay, guys, thank you very much. Have a great evening, everyone. Have a great, lovely evening. Akriti is saying yes, Bada Mangal, yes. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.